Coach Phipps, this is kind of a penultimate weekend before we start the championship season for cross country. You're taking a good contingent of your team to Louisville for the pre-nationals. Tell me how important it is to go and run on the course where the national championships will be held.
It's very important, and especially for our men's program right now. I think we've put ourselves in a position that I think we can be back there in a few weeks, and it's important to perform well to help us get there. You know, scoring some points against some teams from other regions, and then the other bonus, obviously, is getting on the course, getting a little more familiar with that course. No one on the team has been on that course before, so.
How is the team faring right now? How do you like where they are in their training?
I've been really impressed with everything, but the level of progression that's occurred over the last few weeks has really been outstanding.
These cooler mornings helping a little bit?
Yeah, it's I'm not going to complain about the weather we've had. A little bit cool when we're up at 6:30, but when we're practicing around 7 or so, it's absolutely perfect. And of course, it's shirts off for midway through the workout for the guys.
Let's talk a little bit about the points you were talking about at Louisville. I don't think a lot of people understand what happens with cross-country teams. We, regardless of what happens at the Pac-12 championships, which, by the way, are in 2 weeks in Colfax, hosted by Washington State University.
Correct, yes.
All the teams in the conference progress to the regional championships. And then what happens from there?
Yeah, I think cross country is one of those, I think it's the most complicated and least understood of all the qualifiers for NCAAs of any sport. So with the 9 regions, the top 2 teams in each region automatically advance, and then there's 13 at large, and this is where it gets pretty tricky. You accumulate points that you don't really know you've accumulated until after the regional meet, and they look at your regular season schedule and see how many of those automatic qualifiers that you've beat over the course of the season, and you score points for each win, and then it creates this kind of drop down list where the first team gets in, and then you can score points against that team too, so they get added to the list of potential teams where you can score points, and then eventually gets you down to 31 teams.
So even though Colorado's defending national champion in our conference, they're not in our region.
Correct.
So we won't be competing against them at the region. But it will be important for us to do well this weekend because we're going to be competing against teams that we don't usually see on the West Coast.
That's exactly right. And that's one of the huge benefits of going to this meet is that you see teams from so many other regions. The West, typically one of the stronger regions in the Pac-12, typically one of the strongest conferences in the nation. And so it really benefits us to be able to compete against some other regions and score some points against high-ranked teams from other regions.
So what do you tell your team going into this meet this weekend?
Well, I think a number of things. They're fairly well schooled on what we need to do and what teams that we feel are important to focus on. We'll still take care of our own business through the first part of the race, run intelligently, and then work on picking off some teams in that last few K of the race.
So what will be a success for you? How will you judge your success after this Saturday?
Well, I think ultimately we may not know how successful it is till the end of the year, but I think as long as we continue to make the progress that we've been making in practice and the progress that we've been making in the meets, I'm going to be very, very happy. But I think if we make that progress and we achieve our process goals, we're going to place very highly there.
There's also a chance for individuals to advance out of the regional. Do they look at just their placing at regionals, or do they look at their whole body of work before they get an at-large berth to national championships?
So again, kind of a complicated one as well, and it's purely based on the performance at the regional meet. So you could have a fantastic season, win every race leading up to regional, and if you don't perform well there, you wouldn't be advancing as an individual. And what they do is take the top 4 from individuals that did not qualify as a team. And then there's 2 extra bursts that they add at the end based off of highest finishing within a region that didn't make it on the 4 automatic bursts.
Okay, so let's talk about the men's side. What distances have you run so far this year, and what will you run in the next couple of weeks?
So the first meet was a 6K to get that little rust off and just kind of get that. I think it's great for everybody, but especially for the freshmen when they're making that adjustment from typically running 3 miles or 5K up to 8K. So we went 6K, and everything else has been 8K, and this weekend will be 8K as well. We won't see a 10K race until the regional, and then hopefully again back in Louisville for nationals.
What about on the women's side? What distances are they running?
6 kilometers. So it used to be a 5 kilometer over the years, and it's gradually changed that a lot of the regular season meets are becoming 6K. Our first one was 4, but we've been 6K since, and we'll be 6K from here on out.
We should also mention that a limited number of your teams are also going to be down at Lewiston on Saturday morning for the Inland Empire Challenge.
Correct.
We change the name of this meet every
Yeah.
year to the Inland Empire Challenge. And what are you looking for that group of runners?
This is a very important meet for our team as well. The pre-national meet limits us to only 7 athletes. We can run more at the Pac-12 championships, and then we're back to 7 for our regional championships. So I think it's really important for those people that right now are our 8, 9, 10, but that are very close to being in our top 7, to continue to show what they can do and getting that race experience and keep that routine that we've now established of having a race every 2 weeks.
All right. Well, I wish you safe travels and good luck in Louisville and Lewiston.
Thank you very much, and go Cougs!